Hello, welcome to Movement Not Miracles, your bite-sized sessions to help keep you mobile, help keep your joints moving and mobile, and some stretches to help you avoid those stiff joints, stiffness in your muscles that can create some aches and pains. So, just because we've started to record now, the cat wants to go out, which is quite typical. So, excuse me one moment, I'll just let Martha out. There we go. And we can carry on now. Oh, can't kneel down on that knee. Bashed my knee on a rock on Sunday out running, and I've got a bit of a bruise, but that's okay. So today's session is a bit of an all-over stretch session. If you are seated, I will talk you through some variations because we're going to be doing some floor work. You can still do something if you are seated. So if you find it difficult to get to the floor or you can't get to the floor, then there are some options that you can do to stretch through your upper back and through the whole of your back. So I will talk you through those. So for everybody else, to start off with, we're going to do downward dog. So if you are seated, imagine I am sitting in a chair, I should bend across my legs. You're going to bend forwards and reach out in your chair. So you're aiming to fold yourself in half. If you can put your arms onto a solid support like a window ledge or a table, then you can press down through your straight arms and get some stretch through the armpit area and get some stretch through your upper back, which is what we're going to do if you are with me. And on the floor into downward dog, a basic yoga posture, one of my favourites. It's a really, really good mobility and stretch move. And there's such an awful lot going on. We're not going to unpick everything, but what I want you to focus on to start off with is your hands directly underneath your shoulders and your fingers spread nice and wide, so you've got a nice solid base. Tucking your toes underneath, and as you lift up through your hips, you're going to push back through your arms. I'm going to move forwards a little bit, so you lose my head for the moment, but it will come back. Unfortunately, I hear you say. So, a nice big stretch up. So think of lifting your hips high, but also think of really pushing back with your hands. So you should be able to feel all of your fingers on the floor. Knees should be straight, so really push your knees back. And you're aiming to get your feet as close to the floor as possible. If you're anything like me, then I can't get my heels to the floor. But the more I do this, the closer I get to the floor, and that's okay. You do what you can do. So we'll come down a second and sit up if you are seated. So I want you to think about the same things, whether you're seated or whether you're doing the downward dog version. So it's really easy when we go into any sort of forward stretch where you're using your arms to lift your shoulders up, and you move your arms like this, and what I want you to think of is keeping your shoulders back and down. So we're keeping the space, my hair out of the way, between your ears and your shoulders. We're not doing this. So to do that, we have to work through our shoulder blades and through the muscles in our back. So one of the simple moves we do in Movement Not Miracles is that shoulder roll, where we squeeze our shoulders back and down, and I want you to think of that before you go into either your forward bend in the chair, like this, because you keep your shoulders back and down, or if you're in the downward dog position, so keep that space between your shoulders and your ears. So don't want you to forget about your legs if you're doing the downward dog, but I just want you to be aware of what's happening with your shoulders, so if you can access your upper back. So let's try again. So to start off with, shoulders back and down. So don't let this happen. Shoulders back and down, and keep them there as you go up. So I can really feel work in my upper back now. I'm squeezing my shoulder blades together. I'm still lifting up through my hips. I'm still pushing back through my arms. And actually, if you lift your head up, that should just exaggerate that feeling in the upper back. You can relax your head down, particularly if your neck is a bit stiff. Okay, down we come. So, hopefully you feel a little bit more movement or a little bit more space through your upper back and your shoulders. Similar sort, it's not similar at all, but a forward bend we're going to move into. So if you're sitting on the floor, forwards again, this time you're kneeling down with your toes together and your knees apart. If you are seated, then if you do a similar sort of action that you were just doing, move, think this time of keeping your bottom pushing back and moving your chest forwards, so you're folding yourself as low as you can go down towards your knees. So if you're doing the child's pose on the floor with me, we're aiming to keep our bottom on your heels, but the same sort of action. So I want you to think of pushing your bottom back, and you're hinging, whether you're doing this seated or on the floor, you are bending from your hips. So think of, rather than, how to describe this, rather than just rounding down over your shoulders, we're actually moving from here first. You're moving from your hip area first. So you're folding yourself down, stretching your arms forward, and if you can, put your hands on your head on the floor. And again, you can push down. Oh, my other cat wants to go out now. Hang on a minute, Arthur. You just keep breathing. I'm just going to let him out because he's going to start scrabbling. Go on. I don't like to disturb them when they're fast asleep, but maybe I do need to. Right, we'll do that one again. Toes together, knees apart, and we're going to fold forwards. We're still working on that upper back, so the same thing that we were doing before. Shoulders away from our ears, shoulder blades squeezing together on your back chest. Still squeezing your shoulder blades together, even when you reach your arms out. And keep breathing. Now you should feel this in your upper back. If you're pushing down through your arms, you get some stretch through your armpit and squeezing your shoulder blades together. So it's an active pose. We're not just laying without doing any work. Okay, and come back up. And then we're going to do a little bit of work to stretch through our legs now. So if you are seated, lift one ankle so that it's resting on your thigh, and work to encourage, I'll show you on this side, encourage this hip to rotate round and this knee to gently go towards the floor. So start off sitting tall and trying to get that knee to actually move. If you're sitting on the floor like I am, so first of all, one leg straight, other leg, foot on the other side of the knee, and you're going to hug that knee into your chest. And that's going to give you a bit of a stretch around the outside of your hip on the side where your leg is bent. Sitting nice and tall, hopefully you're going to be able to see the writing on the back of my t-shirt. Think of twisting your chest round. You can push on the floor behind you. You have to be sitting tall for this to happen. So try and twist your chest round as much as you can whilst hugging that knee into your chest. And keep breathing.
And again, same sort of shoulder blade action. So think of squeezing your shoulder blades together and keeping your shoulders away from your ears. Swapping sides, sitting nice and tall. So sitting on the bones of your bottom, hug that knee in towards the chest. Oh goodness, this side is tight. And then twisting your chest around as far as it will go. And keep breathing. Okay. And then if you are on the floor, we're going to take this into a seated forward bend, and you can use a strap or a belt or a tea towel to, if you cannot reach your toes, to wrap around the base of your feet. If you are seated, you can take this into a seated twist. So rest your legs down and one hand across the thigh and the other hand across the back of the chair, and sitting nice and tall, twisting your body all the way around as much as you can. Stay sitting tall and keep your shoulders away from your ears. So a forward bend, sitting nice and tall, and like we did in the child's pose, we're moving forwards from our hips. So we're not staying sitting here and trying to get to our toes with our arms. Your arms are not going to be long enough. So you need to sit nice and tall and move from the hips as if someone's pulling you with your belly button, and you're trying to move your belly button along your thighs. And if you can get hold of your toes, get hold of your toes. If you cannot, get hold of your strap and hold the strap as close to your feet as you can. But can you see the difference with rounded shoulders there? And if I can get hold of my toes, I can really move through my back, which means I can get more stretch through my legs. You're going to feel quite a strong stretch through your hamstrings, but it also means I can get some stretch through my lower back as well, if you can pull against that support, and just keep breathing. If you are more flexible than I am, you can work to bringing your belly and your chest down towards your thighs. That is never going to happen for me. Believe me, this is so much better than it used to be. So I am testament to the fact that we get good at what we do. So if you do stretch regularly, you can improve your mobility and your flexibility. Okay, and relax. If you're seated, alternate your twist. So move my mat round really. I've almost got my back to you, haven't I? So now sitting nice and tall, one foot up and resting on the inside of your thigh and your knee resting down towards the floor, and opposite arm is going to opposite foot. Now I'm not going to be able to reach my foot straight away with this one. So again, sitting tall and moving forwards from the groin area, and hold your belt. I'm going to move back a little bit so you can see my foot, because you've seen the setup now. So hold your belt as close to, with the opposite arm, so you've got a bit of a twist through the body, as close to the foot as you can. You can bring your other hand down. So this time, I'm really working hard to try and bring my chest forwards and straighten through my back. And you should feel still a stretch down the straight leg, but a stretch in the side of your back of the bent knee. Ah, there we go. So my body has decided it's going to let me get hold of my toes now. So I'm working hard through the quad in this leg to push my leg down into the floor. And just breathing. Okay, and we'll swap legs. So again, sitting nice and tall, Foot on the inside of your thigh, straight leg, toes pointing towards the ceiling, opposite arm, sitting tall, opposite arm to opposite foot. And keep breathing, don't forget that bit. And if you can, oh, there we go, look, get hold of your toes. Relax through the bent knee. And each time you breathe out, see if you can think of moving that belly button a millimetre further along your leg. Okay. And relax. So, hopefully you feel a little bit more space, a bit more movement, and feel a bit more stretched. Doing something is better than doing nothing. So, and something little and often is a really good idea. It's really easy to become very round-shouldered and round hunched over, particularly when we're sitting for long periods. So, encouraging some movement through our upper back and our shoulders and our hips is a really good idea. So check out the website www.eatmovebehappy.com for lots more ideas on some coach programs to help you with your eating and exercise habits, so that you can be healthier in your choices and therefore feel happier. Particularly important, I think, at this time when there's so much uncertainty about lockdown restrictions and different areas going through in different tiers, which is impacting on who you can see and who you can't see. And I don't know about you, but I'm finding it quite difficult. So anything that we can do to look after ourselves is a good thing. So check out the website for ideas with that. Share the video if we can help people just keep a little bit more mobile, and that in itself helps them feel a little bit better, then that makes a big difference to us as well. And there's peer support group, put your comments in there, because we know that lots of people are connecting with each other through that, and that's also good. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will be back tomorrow.